Heat 2, there's the lineup. On the inside, Alan Graham riding in red. Next to him in the white helmet colour, John Davis, the big pin-up boy from Reading. He'll be in the white helmet colour. Grid 3 has Phil Collins, Graham's partner, in blue. And on the outside there, Dave Perks, a late replacement reserve, partnering John Davis in yellow and black. Heat number 2 coming up now under starters' orders. Davis in grid 2, traditionally a very quick starter. John Davis leads it, second place going around the outside. It's Phil Collins there, and he's gone by Davis down the back straight, really in super style. Third place is Alan Graham. So it's Collins, Davis, and coming around the outside there in third place. We have Dave Burke, but this is Phil Collins, and he really is going like a long dog. Looking around for his partner, he is a good bit back, Phil, in third place. Davis comfortably in second place at the moment. Collins, of course, the younger brother of England's last world champion, Peter Collins, and in second place there, a bit of a ding-dong developing between Alan Graham and John Davis. Typical, gritty, exciting Collins style about young Phil. Really is developing beautifully. And again, the second place battle just behind him there. We'll see it. There it is. It's Davis and Graham. And Davis going wide and Graham coming through on the inside. Phil Collins is unaware of the drama behind him, but it's Alan Graham who gets up there into second place. Phil Collins really the winner from the first bend onwards, and Alan Graham just sneaking up into second place for the extra point there. 5 points there for Phil and Alan, one only for John Davis and his partner Dave Perks. Heat number 3 coming up, the Americans again with 5 points under their belt, this time meeting the young Englishman from Eastbourne. On the inside there, Roger Johns in white. Next to him in the red helmet colour, it's Bruce Penhall. Grid 3 has Colin Richardson in yellow and black, and on the outside, Bobby Schwartz in blue. Heat number 3. Remember, it's a pairs fixture. It's not just a question of winning, it's a question of trying to see your partner home. We saw the Americans do it really quite beautifully in Heat 1. Now they've got 2 young dons from Wimbledon. Bit of a handful this one, Heat 3. But it is the Americans who jump out. It's Schwartz on the outside, Penhall on the inside, looking for each other, and away they go with Roger Johns splitting them and going past the pair of them. Well, Roger Johns, no respect for reputations, went between the 2 team-riding Americans, and now they're after him. Well, that really was a fine example of not dilly-dallying on the way. Roger Johns there, as the 2 Yanks tried to team ride and pair up and make life difficult, just went between the pair of them, and now he's showing a furious pace, and now Penhall must chase hard, and so too must Schwartz. This is Johns, member of the Eastbourne Academy. Now Roger Wimbledon, and it's in trouble there. Bruce Penhall, engine trouble on the top corner. Penhall is out of this one. And so not so happy for the Americans here on the last lap. Remember, it's 367 yards around here. It's going to be a win for Roger Johns. Second place was Schwartz. Third place, Richardson, never really in contention there. Penhall in trouble, so that's 4 points for the young Englishman from Wimbledon, 2 only for the Americans. And that's a bit of a surprise early on. The way they line up after, 3 races here. Bruce Penhall and Bobby Schwartz have 7 points, but they've had 2 rides. Alan Graham, Phil Collins back on 5. Then we have Roger Johns, Colin Richardson on 4, and the other 2 pairings, as you can see, on 1 point. But there's still a lot of speedway to come, and still a chance for the ground to be made up. Heat 4, and Alan Graham and Phil Collins, who are unbeaten after 1 ride there in this one. They're in the riders in white and yellow and black in grids 2 and 4 respectively. On the inside, Kristian Praestbro red. Next to him, Alan Graham in the white helmet. Grid 3 has Thomsen, and on the outside, Phil Collins. Heat number 4 with the 2 young Englishmen from Cradley looking good in their first ride. Let's see what happens here in Heat 4. Well, the tapes were broken. It looked like Thomsen was the guilty party there in blue. Well, that's going to be interesting now, because indeed it was Thomsen who was adjudged by referee Mel Price to have been the cause of the tapes being stopped. That's not allowed in Speedway, but in this evening's fixture we have a special supplementary regulation which says that anybody who breaks the tapes are handicapped. So there they are, the instant repairs going on for the starting tapes. You can see there many hands making light work. But Thomsen's going to be back 20 yards now, and that's going to be quite interesting. Handicap Speedway, of course. Thomsen must stay back there on the green light post on 20-yard handicap. Now, he might just make this work to his advantage, because he gets a clear run up to the corner and can see where anybody is, and that's going to make life a bit interesting, I think. Remember, on the inside there, it's Kristian Praestbro. Then in white, Alan Graham. Grid 3 has nobody, but then 20 yards back there, it's Thomsen as the guilty party for tape breaking. On the outside, Phil Collins in yellow. In fact, the referee really sticking to the letter of the law, moving Phil Collins into grid 3. Any handicap rider must have the outside berth. So that's the way it is. The restart of heat 4. And away goes Graham, and away goes Collins, and Thomsen made up no ground at all there, and it is the young Englishman going down this back straight with Collins in front. Then we have Alan Graham in third place. It is Praestbro, and now we'll see, I'm sure, team riding from these young English fellows. Remember, the machines are 500cc. They're either Westlakes or British Westlakes or Czechoslovakian Jawas. Capable of a build-up from 0 to 60 miles an hour in 3 seconds. And you can see this pair riding here. These two know exactly where their partners are. They're in complete command. Averaging around about 50 miles an hour around this 367-yard Cradley circuit. But the English pairing here really in no trouble. Collins didn't run a particularly good corner there, but his partner was well aware of where he was. They're going to collect 5 more points. No trouble at all. So they move into the lead quite conclusively on 10 points after their 2 starts. So there we go. Phil Collins, Alan Graham collects maximum points again for their second ride, and they're setting the pace here in this Courage TV event. Got the unbeaten local pairing of Alan Graham and Phil Collins. They'll be in the white, yellow and black helmet colours against their American teammates Bruce Penhall, Bobby Schwartz. Now they have 7 points, although of course we saw poor old Bobby Schwartz pull out of his last ride, so he having mechanical trouble. Be interesting to see how the bike holds out here in Heat 6, because it really will have to go. Collins and Graham have looked awfully sharp. The lineup from the inside there in the blue helmet colour is Bobby Schwartz in grid 1. Next to him in white, Alan Graham, grid 2. Grid 3 has Bruce Penhall in red, and on the outside, where he loves to start from, Phil Collins in yellow and black. Heat 6, and this one could be decisive, could be most important to the final outcome. It's a very even break, and Penhall gets the start. Penhall gets to the start first, and around those first 2 corners it's the Americans in front, and this could upset the old apple cart a bit. It's the Yanks in front. Penhall leads it. Schwartz is second. Phil Collins chasing hard after them now, but this really could change the leaderboard up a bit. Schwartz looking back for his partner now. We heard him say he's going to ride wide and allow the inside run for Schwartz, and they have opened up a gap of some 10-15 lengths on the young Englishman. Some idea of how quickly they're going as they flash by our low camera there. Penhall looking for his partner, and they really have sewn up Heat 6 already. Into the last lap, 367 yards more to go to the checkered flag, and unless they do something very silly, calamitous, the Americans are going to collect 5 points, which is going to open up this Courage TV trophy. got one single mistake in 4 laps, 5 points for the Americans, one only for Phil Collins and Alan Graham, in fact, who got up there into 3rd place. And that's going to make an awful difference to the scoring, because now it means the Americans have 12 points, and they've overtaken Alan Graham and Phil Collins, who now only have 11. Well, that last race really has made a difference to that leaderboard, hasn't it? Because the Americans now have moved clearly into the lead. They're on 12 points. Alan Graham and Phil Collins back on 11. Those two clearly in front. Roger Johns and Colin Richardson back in 3rd place on 7. Then you can see John Davis and Dave Perks, Kristian Praestbro and Finn Thomsen. They meet in Heat 7, so that could sort that little problem at the bottom end out. Remember, we eliminate one of these pairs, so every one of these races now having some importance. So heat number 7 there, it's Kristian Praestbro on the inside, riding in red. In yellow and black, Dave Perks in grid 2. Grid 3 has Finn Thomsen in blue, and on the outside it's John Davis. There's the lineup. This is heat 7. These two pairs at the bottom of the list at the moment, but they'll be looking for that qualification place for the semi-finals. Heat 7. Well, there's a bit of a nudge there at the start, and Davis, indeed, and Thomsen tangled up there at the start of heat number 7. Well, we can see that John Davis indeed was the man who came across very quickly from the outside grid. He moved his line across almost within a bike length, tangled with Thomsen. Thomsen wouldn't give, the elbows flew, and the race had to be stopped. The restart then of heat number 7 for the second time of asking. The lineup again there, you can see it. Heat number 7, John Davis on the outside. Well, he didn't give much away at the start there, came straight across from the outside grid. Finn Thomsen's an old hand, he gave nothing away. Let's see the rematch, heat 7. Again from the outside, tucking his elbows in there, but it's Thomsen who goes through, so too does Praestbro. The Danes in front, Davis back in 3rd place, Perks is last. Well, there's the 1-2, Denmark, Finn Thomsen, Kristian Praestbro. John Davis not looking at all happy here as he chases hard after the Danish pairing, who have teamed up to try and make sure there's no gaps left for him to go through. Chase is on for John Davis now. Praestbro has dropped back into 2nd place. Davis will try and come through on the inside there. It's getting a bit tight. Well, the Danes know he's there. John Davis does it hard on their back wheels. There it is, the battle up front. He's got one more lap if he's going to get through. Going out very wide, Davis trying to lock back. Not going to do it. There's the leading pair. Sensible, intelligent thinking speedway for the Danes, who really have shut all avenues of attack off there. The winner in blue, Thomsen, 2nd place Praestbro, 3rd place Davis, and that could make sure that the Danish pair do qualify for the semi-finals. Means the Danes have now moved up onto 7 points progressively. John Davis and Dave Perks back on 5 points, and we're beginning to wonder if they are going to be the pair to drop out of the semis. Well, you can see they're quite clearly Speedway, a family sport. The kids come as well there. They're perched up there, supporting the Heathens. Mum and Dad, everybody comes. It's a happy family sport. And, of course, as always, in the Midlands, it's booming.
Finn Thomsen, that was a heat between two pairs who really had to get some points, because one of you looked like being eliminated after the 10 heats.
Yeah, I know, but we've had a bit of gearing problems, or myself anyhow, a bit of gearing problems to start with, and, you know, the track's grippy and, you know, need a bigger gear than what I thought it would. So seems that we're getting back now.
What about that clash at the beginning in the start that had to be restarted?
Yeah, that was a bit of a nasty one. I would have thought he was gone back on 10 yards handicap like I had for breaking the tapes in the previous race, but you don't know when you're out there what happens.
Anyway, you got the win you needed. You're very much in contention now.
That's what we needed.
Thank you, Finn.
Hope we get more.
Heat number 8, and on the inside it's Alan Graham in red, next to him Colin Richardson yellow and black. Grid 3 has Phil Collins in blue, and on the outside the impressive Roger Johns. Heat number 8. And Johns has made a flying start from the outside as they bunch for the first corner. Johns leads it. Second place is Graham. Third place is Collins. But Roger Johns really has looked to be the individual star of the evening. He tended to do the hard work in the back of his last 2 rides, but he made a super start from grid 4 in this one. And now he's just saying, well, now it's your turn to chase me. Johns, of course, is a Londoner, product of the Eastbourne Eagles School. Rode for the Eagles in the National League, joined Wimbledon 3 years ago. Took his time to settle in, but got himself married last year, and that really seemed to give him the necessary boost to push his scoring and his speedway up a bit. Roger Johns has an elder brother, Alan, who used to do a bit of riding, and a younger brother, Peter, from the Kent's Youth Motorcycle Club. Young Peter, just 16 now, making progress in the second half events at Wimbledon. There's Johns. He's going to win it. 3 points for him, but the Cradley pairing of Graham and Collins tucking in behind him, they share the points there, so that's 3 apiece for those pairings. 14 points now for Alan Graham and Phil Collins, 10 for Roger Johns and Colin Richardson, and that almost certainly means they're both going to qualify for the semi-finals. So as we come towards the climax of this Courage TV pairs, let's have a look at the scoreboard now. Well, it's Alan Graham and Phil Collins on 14 points, but they have had an extra ride. Bruce Penhall, Bobby Schwartz from America on 12. Roger Johns and Colin Richardson plugging away on 10 there in 3rd place. Kristian, Praestbro and Finn Thomsen with 5 points in their last race, moving up onto 7. And that looks like being the 4 semi-finalists as John Davis and Dave Perks. We hear in the pits, both in mechanical trouble. Well, this is Heat 9 coming up with on the inside Colin Richardson, next to him in red Kristian Praestbro, the exciting and enterprising Roger Johns in white in grid 3, and on the outside Finn Thomsen. Heat number 9, with most of these pairings looking set for the semi-final. There's the line-up there. Now the action. Well, you can see there, in fact, it might be interesting just to watch that clutch. That's the left hand. You can see just how swift and how they bite. Just watch the left hands here as the tapes go off on heat number 9. Oh dear. Well, once again, we have trouble at the start. Tape's definitely broken, and referee Mel Price rather, must make a decision. Well, Finn Thomsen again has been the rider adjudged to have caused the trouble, so he's going to have to start back on handicap. Well, at least he must be getting used to it now. He didn't make any ground up last time. That's Finn Thomsen. Well, we can see he wasn't too happy about the last time. You can see him shaking his head there now. Obviously, none too pleased about the referee's decision, but he's the man with the whistle, and he's going to have to go back on handicap. So now the arguments start back at the pit gate. There's Thomsen there with Bob Wosley, the Cradley team manager. He's the gentleman there with his back to us. And he's obviously saying, well, I'm not too happy about that. Of course, normally in Speedway, if the tapes are broken, then the rider judged to have caused that breakage is excluded from the restart. But of course, this is a special format, Courage TV Best Pairs, and the handicap ruling applies here. At least it maintains the 4 riders per race status and gives the fans value for money. That's the thinking in theory anyway. Thomsen, well, he doesn't look too happy about it. Of course, many top-line riders in the past have said that starting on a handicap actually can be advantageous because you have a clear view of where everybody else is at the first corner. You can pick your spot and go by them all. that's, again, the theory anyway. So Thomsen preparing himself, and once again he's going to have to start back there, what, 10 yards handicap. So it's pretty difficult to come through from the back at the best of times, but we'll see if he can just pick his spot on that first corner. Finn Thomsen back on handicap here in the restart of heat number 9. So they'll all move across from the outside there to allow Finn Thomsen the handicap line at the back. There we go, we've got Colin Richardson there on the inside. Sandwiched in the middle, it's going to be Kristian Praestbro, Roger Johns and White, and Thomsen will stop just about there on, you can see the pole with the green light. You can see the green light come on, that means they're under starter's orders. And Thomsen, the lonely figure, back on the handicap mark. Heat 9. There's the lights, and he was rolling, trying to take advantage. Hasn't made up much ground. Praestbro leads it. Johns going around the outside. Richardson is third, and Finn Thomsen at the back. And now Roger Johns again must do all his racing from the back. Praestbro, Johns, Richardson's in there as well. This is Praestbro, Dane from Ebsjerg. Did most of his early speedway over here with Bellevue, Manchester. They really rejected him, and he really has blossomed into a very useful rider here at Wimbledon Stadium, as we can see quite clearly here. Johns hasn't been beaten yet, but he's got an awful lot of ground to make up if he's going to catch Praestbro. Flashing through the picture there, Kristian Praestbro. Carving him up in heat number 9. He's surely going to win it. Finn Thomsen again has made no impression at all, his partner, off that handicap mark. 3 points then for Praestbro, 2 for Roger Johns, 1 for Colin Richardson. They split the points there. They move up onto 10 points, the Danish pairing. Johns and Richardson onto 13 points, and that means that both of those must go forward to the semis. Well, there's Praestbro, and the crowd acknowledging really a pillar-to-post win there. In complete command, carved it away there. No danger at all, 3 points. But those were the only 3 points that he and partner Finn Thomsen collected. Finn making absolutely no impression from the back after being handicapped. Didn't look happy about it. Really didn't seem to put his heart into his speedway there in heat 9. Number 10, and it really is just going to be academic, because we've got 2 reserves in here, Mike Sampson in white and John Hank in yellow and black in grids 1 and 3 against Bruce Penhall and Bobby Schwartz. Schwartz in grid 2, Penhall on the outside. This is heat 10, and it's Mike Sampson who gets away the reserve from the inside. That's a surprise, but Penhall going around the outside of him. Well, of course, the reserves, their scoring really won't make any difference as Schwartz goes sailing through on the inside of Sampson there. Bruce Penhall looking for his partner. He's right behind you, Bruce. So this is Bruce Penhall, the boy from Balmeo, California. He's a 9 and 8 points average in British League Speedway this year. Bobby Schwartz, his partner, he's from Santa Barbara in California. First season in British Speedway, averaging a very useful 5.76 for the Heathens here. And it's incredible that the Heathens over the past couple of years, thanks to the influx of glamour boy Americans and the enterprise of their promoter Dan McCormick, really have emerged as a sporting force in the Black Country. 5 points for the Yanks. Penhall wins it. Schwartz is second, but as we mentioned, that one's strictly for the record books. The Yanks just making sure of a semi-final place.
Well, it's Schwartz and Penhall who got the most points, and now we're into the sudden death semi-final stage, and it's Johns and Richardson you're against Bobby Schwartz. What do you think about that?
Well, I think Roger Johns is doing a fine job today, but I think the riding of myself and Bruce tonight ought to be able to make it to the final. I'm sure we will.
You're riding really well together, as Bobby says. Bruce, you've got a fine understanding, you two.
Yeah, well, Bobby and I have been riding together for probably 5 years, you know, whenever it comes down to team riding. So I sort of know where Bobby's going to go, and he sort of knows where I'm going to go, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way, you know, like in our second heat. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We're going to go out and do the best we can do.
Roger Johns, though, has been riding really well. He's only dropped 1 point all evening, so presumably you've got to watch him. How are you going to do that?
We're just going to try to get him from the start and hold it on from there.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you, Gary.
So let's just have a look at the final point scores after the 10 races on the main program. As you can see, Bruce Penhall, Bobby Schwartz, clearly the overall leaders with 17 points. Alan Graham, Phil Collins on 14, Roger Johns, Colin Richardson, and Kristian Praestbro and Finn Thomsen going through into the semi-finals. And let's have a look at those semi-final lineup. And it's going to look a little bit like this. We're going to have Penhall and Schwartz in the first one. That's the home pairing from the United States of America against the, well, the very exciting and enterprising Roger Johns and his partner Colin Richardson. That will be the first semi. Well, here we go for the first semi-final. And that's Bobby Schwartz, and he is going to be on the inside in this semi-final. Next to him, Colin Richardson in yellow and black. Grid 3 will have Bruce Penhall, and on the outside, Roger Johns in the white helmet colour. The semi-final, remember, the winning pair will go forward to the final, and if they do split the heat, let's just explain if they split it. If it's a 3-3 points, then the pair with the most accumulative points, and that looks like being Bruce Penhall and Bobby Schwartz, will go forward. So the first semi-final, there's the lineup, and now the action in just a moment. Penhall gets a super start. Penhall and Schwartz lead it now. Johns going around the outside into third place, and they're going to have to go some now because Roger Johns is after them. The Americans really rode a magnificent gate, a magnificent first corner, and they look well set now in this first semi-final. Well, the old Star-Spangled Banner is flying pretty proudly at Dudley Wood Stadium. It doesn't look as though Roger Johns can make much of an impact on this pairing. There's Penhall, what an exciting character he is. Tremendous acquisition to Wimbledon Speedway. Looks around, clearly sees it's Bobby Schwartz. We heard him say they knew each other's riding style, and they really do now look like the favourites for this Courage TV Pairs Trophy. Complete command, Bruce Penhall. Just 2 more corners to circumnavigate, and that means a place in the final for the Yanks. Penhall won it. Second place Schwartz. Roger Johns, who just flourished briefly around the first 2 corners, then dropped back and never made any impression at all. The Americans are going to take some stopping in that final, that's for sure. So we've got America in the final already, so we now look for their opposition. And who's it going to come from? England or from Denmark? Because that's the international lineup. And now let's have a look at the individuals representing those nations. In the red and blue helmet colours, and they're going to be in grids 2 and 4 respectively, we'll have Alan Graham and Phil Collins, the local Cradley favourites. There they are, just getting themselves settled on the grid there. You can see clearly again that ignition cutout on Phil Collins' right wrist there. That's that bit of looping wire. Praestbro and Thomsen. Praestbro will go onto the inside grid in white, and Finn Thomsen, who's had a bit of trouble with the start, it must be said this evening. He's in grid 3. There's the lineup. This is a second semi-final, and we await to see who's going to go forward to face the Americans in what should be a super final. Always a nerve-wracking moment as they settle down for this start. Starting, of course, so important in Speedway, although, as we've seen here quite clearly this evening, it's certainly possible to come through from the back. So, the Warriors settle down, preparing for the battle. Second semi-final, Denmark versus England. The lights on, they're under starters' orders. and a very clean break, and it's the Danes who get away. Denmark lead, it's Praestbro in second place coming through, Alan Graham, but going around the outside of him is Finn Thomsen, and this is a bit of a surprise. Beautiful clean start from Kristian Praestbro. Thomsen is into second place, and the English riders who made a terrific start to the meeting are going to work terribly hard. And through goes Alan Graham. He's left a hole there for his partner, Phil Collins. Can't quite get up. Still Praestbro up front, and now really the battle is for that third place at the back. This is Praestbro. And Phil Collins lost an awful lot of ground there on those top corners. See the gaps there quite clearly. So he comes through. Collins is the man with all the work to do at the back as Praestbro really gets hold of this second semi-final by the throat, and Collins is trying to come through at the back there. It looks as though it's going to be an America-Denmark final. Over the line goes Praestbro. Second place was Graham, and third place, the crucial third place, held on by the skin of his teeth by Finn Thomsen. There's the winner, and Kristian Praestbro really made a super start there. He got away, and he has looked impressive in his last 2 or 3 rides, and I'm sure he's going to push those Americans in the final because his gating ability is so quick, and when he gets in front, he rarely makes a mistake. Kristian Praestbro looking impressive here and going into the final. Well, there's the final, and it's been really an intriguing evening Speedway with 1 or 2 surprises, some good racing, some passing, some repassing, and some quite brilliant team Speedway. Now we come to the final crunch with America versus Denmark, a final which indeed is indicative of the international flavour about Speedway in Britain and indeed in the Midlands, where we have the representatives of so many top nations based with Midland Speedway clubs. You can see that we have got Bobby Schwartz here lining up. The Americans obviously impatient to go. We heard Bruce Penhall there saying they're going to step on the gas and they're very impatient to get going. This is Finn Thomsen, cagey Dane. He was non-committal about his chances. He's in yellow and black here. He'll be in grid 2. Let's have a look at the lineup across the grid. On the inside there, we have Kristian Praestbro. Next to him, it's Bobby Schwartz in blue. Grid 3 has Finn Thomsen in the yellow and black helmet, and on the outside, Bruce Penhall, who said he really is trapping like never in his life before. He's in red. Here's the final. And away they go, and it's the Danes. And Penhall coming across from grid 4. Penhall leads it. In second place, it is Praestbro. In third place, coming through very hard, it is Schwartz down the inside of Thomsen. He's gone through into third place, and that could be crucial. Penhall, Praestbro. Schwartz is third and going hard now after Praestbro. This is Bruce Penhall looking for his partner. And you can see the battle for second place as they duck and dive. Bruce Penhall carving him up, really stressing him up front. The battle for second place. Praestbro is holding on. Well, if they stay like this, of course, that's a 4-2 heat win for the Americans. That would be enough for them to win this Carriage TV trophy, and they've just got one more lap to hold on. Bruce Penhall has anchored them in this final. Keeps looking around. His partner is just, I think, now content to hold on to third place, because that will be enough. That will be sufficient. There goes Penhall around the last 2 corners. He's won it over the line. Second place Praestbro, third, so vital is Bobby Schwartz, and that means the Americans based here at Cradley, the anti-post favourites Bruce Penhall and Bobby Schwartz have won the Courage TV trophy. They're delighted about it, and they really had to work hard for it. Well, they're very popular winners, no question about that. And how about that, girls, for a dishy face? Bruce Penhall, who of course has been regarded as a bit of a beach boy, is his partner, Bobby Schwartz, in his first year in British Speedway. What an important and exciting import he's been. What a difference these boys have made to the image of Speedway here at Cradley. Really have given it a more glamorous flavour.
Here you go, John, take the bite.
Well, that's what it was all about. The Best Pairs Trophy. There's Colin Osborne from Courage making the presentations of those very handsome soldiers to the Yanks, and, well, they're delighted. Very popular winners. They really have made a tremendous difference image-wise to Speedway. Given it a new glamour touch here. And indeed, they had one or two hiccups, but emerged as very worthy winners.
Thanks, Dan.
That's all right.
Well, that went according to plan, you two. But you had to work hard in the end there, Bobby.
Yeah, in the first turn, there was a bit of a mix-up between the other two team riders. They banged a little bit, and I was on the outside of them. I didn't make the gate very well. And they slowed down so much when they hit each other, I actually thought it was a red flag. I looked up and didn't see a light and turned it on again and kept going. And by the first half lap, I was back into third. And I kept pressing Kristian, but he's a great rider and he knows his track very well, and he stayed in second. And my mate Bruce helped us win this whole thing and stayed in first.
Bruce, when you turned around there, what were you thinking? Where's my mate?
Well, I saw Bobby in third, you know, and I thought it would be awfully hard for Bobby to go back another place.
He was in fourth position for some while, though.
That's right, but I saw him move up, you know, and I knew that he would. You know, I was a little bit hesitant on slowing down and try to block the other rider, because if I was to get past them, they could have won the final. As it was, stood there, I had 3 points, you know, solid, and the worst we could have done was have another runoff. So I sort of kept on going, you know, and Bobby fought hard from the back and came through with flying colors.
What does winning this mean to you two?
It means just everything. It's another meeting that I've won, and another meeting that I've gained more experience in for me.
Yeah, thanks a lot to Courage for sponsoring this, you know,
Yes.
this trophy, and it's a great meeting. We'd like to have more television meetings.
Well, we've enjoyed being here, and on that point, Bruce, that's a good place for us to end this program. Thank you two especially for giving us a lot of good speedway in this.
Thanks
We've
very
enjoyed
much,
it very much.
Thank you, Gary, and thank you, ATV.
It's been our pleasure to be here.